Hello everybody, welcome to the Keepers Corner. We've got a little bit of a different show for you this week because Watto, I am happy to report that in the Premier League this weekend there weren't too many glaring mistakes.
No.
However, there were some world-class saves.
World-class saves, and ultimately we've got 3 to dissect. And then, fun for the show, what about the transfer merry-go-round? Plenty to talk about, guys.
Yeah, boom. So we're going to get into that at the end of the show as well. We're going to dissect it. A few goalkeepers moving here, there and everywhere. We're going to start here, though, at the West Ham Stadium, Watto. Areola in goal. Kevin De Bruyne being an absolute magician, disguising the life out of it and nearly putting it in the near post. Worldy of a save.
Yeah, short corner. You can see West Ham zonal defence pushing up. Areola in a really good position, wants to be aggressive.
Positive
for Grealish getting it. You can see here, what I really like is a couple of contacts to get readjusted. Yeah. Obviously, Wan-Bissaka's in a poor position because he's giving him that inside bit. But Areola's had his couple of steps. He's in a nice set, really good balanced position. Hand position's good. He can come for that ball if De Bruyne does what he normally does and whip it in between you and your back four. But De Bruyne being De Bruyne, he sees a space. And I have to say, for Areola, it's a magnificent save. He's set, good hand position, and then it's about agility and power and what a right hand to get that over the bar.
Athleticism, Watto, because first of all, I love the fact that Areola is trying to be really, really aggressive. Yeah. When you've got Kevin De Bruyne running onto the ball like that, to still take another step to his left-hand side, preempting that ball, getting whipped across near to that far post, the fact that he's still able to get himself back and make the save, it's incredible. But Kevin De Bruyne, can I just talk about him for a second here? There's not many players in world football that would have the ability to run up to a ball like that, look like he's going to be drilling it across the face of goal, and then change his body position, his body shape, and put it into that near post.
And I think that's the clip there, isn't it? I mean, Areola, perfect balance. You can see actually he's thinking, I need to come and help me back for you, because De Bruyne is going to put such a good ball in.
Just edging on
and he actually has it. His weight transfers probably just on his left leg to come for this cross. And then in a split second, De Bruyne, that's the level of this Premier League. But what you see there is he transfers that weight from his left leg onto his right leg and then gets that flexibility and extension on his right arm. And when you look at goalkeeping and the dynamics and the drive of it, when you see the contact here, and then that's what you want in a straight line, that diagonal, that's what you work for, to get a foot off the ground with your feet and get that extended reach with his right hand. And always we talk about goalkeeping, it's the unpredictability. Expect the unexpected. And if he didn't do that, then Kevin De Bruyne is scoring an absolute worldie. But I love De Bruyne's reaction because he thinks he's beat him. Grealish thinks he's beat him. Watch, look at Grealish. He thinks he's got him. That's why we love goalkeeping.
That's why we do it. Wan-Bissaka, by the way, you're turning your back to it is an absolute disgrace. Disgrace.
You're not helping the goalies department.
Take one in the face, take one in the nuts, all right? It's not going to hurt that much. Right, let's move it on then. Watsky, next save we're looking at. We're going to stay with West Ham and Man City, but this time it's Ederson who makes this save. Dying seconds of the game, Man City are 3-1 up. This for me is a good a save as the Areola one. Completely different, but he's having to wait. He's watching it round bodies, manages to get a tiny little fingertip onto it, onto the post. Beautiful.
When we've dissected goals where we think goalies could do better, we get this kind of clip a lot. When there's a defender, as in Diaz here, you know, you don't want to show him inside on his right foot, but Diaz is in there. But Ederson don't go in that really safe position to the near post, and he's sniffing it. He's sniffing that danger there, and he's already had that weight transfer, and he's had that spring. Look at his left hand there. It's outside the line of the post, so he's covered the goal. And that's one thing what goalkeeping gives you. It's the experience when you get older and you've played lots of games, and it's the same thing. Look at the dynamic. On his left hand, he's pushed, he's got a little spring, and it's that diagonal drive with his left hand to push it round the post. But what it shows you is your team's winning 3-1, virtually the last kick of the game. But as a goalie, you never, ever, ever switch off.
The reason why I think this is such a good save is that he has had to read the player's body language so much. All he's doing here is he's basically doing a big mathematical formula inside his brain in split seconds, and he's looking at his position, Diaz's position, where the player's about to look, where the player's head is, his body position, what he's looking at, and he can pretty much do a quick calculation and go, right, I am 99% sure he's putting this to my far left here. So I'm going to wait for it to pass Diaz, and then I'm going to just give it everything I've got. And that's the reason for me where I think that's just so clever, because there's a lot of goalies won't be able to do that math sum in their head, and they won't be able to read it.
Yeah, absolutely. And as soon as it's left his boot, he knows which way it's going. But I just think it's the whole component here. So he's probably the best goalie in the league with the ball at his feet. Everybody raves about him, and that's now a massive element of goalkeeping. But you can't play in goal for Man City if you can't make them saves.
So good.
Because even though they've got world-class defenders in front of him, this is the best level.
Yeah.
And that is a world-class save.
And listen, Diaz think his position's fantastic, Diaz, what he's doing. He's made it really difficult for the player. He's tried to shut off as much as he can. But even he turns his head at the end. Look, see that?
Yeah. If
see
he
that?
kept his head
if
there,
he keeps his head there and he's willing to take one in the face, he might get a little clip on that there. And it's tiny, tiny little details. But I reckon Man City are the sort of team where the manager, the set picker, somebody would say, Ruben, just take one in the face there, mate, would you?
Absolutely.
Just take one in the face. Just don't turn your head. Just take it in the face, mate. It's not the end of the world.
But that's why we love goalkeeping, because we know them defenders in front of us are not going to take that final blow, and we've got to make them saves.
It's a bag of wind, Watto.
Bag of wind.
Right, let's move on then. Crystal Palace versus Chelsea. Dean Henderson.
Yeah.
This is, talk about reactions, flexibility. His back is arching.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful save.
That's a wonderful save. And I think, obviously, a big game for Palace. No points in the bag. Going away to Chelsea's tough game. And here you see, again, what we talk about. The ball's never is on the cross. Little micro steps, little contacts. Never drops his hands too low. Manages to keep his hands in a relatively high position so he can get his right hand up to touch it. But look at the arc. Look at the flexibility. And it's the flexibility of his spine for sure. He were in a good position with his weight on his toes, but he's got so little reaction time. He's arching back. He's kept his right hand up there, and he's just had enough flexibility to manage to flip it and turn it over the bar.
As well.
Strength, just to flip it over the bar.
Because you've got to think he's not anchoring onto anything here. He's trying to kick his legs away from it. He's got no real strength there, but the ability to be able to still tip it over the bar when you're nearly off the ground, your back is arching like that, and from point blank as well, because Madueke don't even know he's volleying this.
No.
He's just hoping he might get some sort of touch on it, because the defender in front of him got a little flick off his head. It's come off Madueke's shin from about 4.5 yards. He's got less than a split second to try and react to that. World class.
And I think when you see it, that's the unpredictability of goalkeeping, and it's that picture there and seeing him in that position. It's such an unorthodox position, but because he was set and he was on his toes, and as he's arching, his rotator cuff, his shoulder, he can drive it up and he can just get that flick with the top of his fingers. It's a remarkable save because he's got no reaction time.
Love it, Watto. Right, transfer window just closed.
Yeah.
It was actually really interesting to watch as a former goalkeeper, sort of former goalie coach, the kind of merry-go-round that took place, because we know as goalkeepers that there's normally only one position, and until somebody moves from that position, a transfer is not going to happen.
No.
And then all of a sudden, it did happen.
Yeah.
The first one to go, it was kind of in conjunction really, was Neto left Bournemouth to come out on loan to Arsenal, which meant that Aaron Ramsdale could then go and sign for Southampton.
Yeah.
And then it all just kicked off from there. Let's talk about Aaron Ramsdale first then. Arsenal to Southampton. What do you think of that move?
I think for Southampton, it's a massive signing. I mean, you're talking a lot of money. I think they've paid 18 million, rising up to 25 million. So that's massive money for a team just getting promoted. But look, he's an England goalkeeper in the making, for sure. He's 26 years of age, so you're ticking a lot of boxes in terms of what he can bring to Southampton. Look, we know Russell Martin really wants to play football, so I think Aaron's got excited because Arteta at Arsenal didn't back him like he wanted to back him, so I think he's going to go in and play. Southampton are always going to play football. He's going to be able to, test himself back in the Premier League. He needed to get playing. The one thing is, for picking Southampton, he's going to get a lot of work to do. And I hope from his perspective, I just hope that them can manage to stay in the league for him, because he's made a big decision to go to one of the 3 promoted teams.
Yeah, I actually, I really like this move. I felt for Aaron last season, being taken out of the team. David Raya came in, he'd done absolutely nothing wrong. And I think he will feel a bit aggrieved about that. I think it would have left a sour taste in his mouth. And I think for him, it's really important to just get back playing first-team football in the Premier League with a smile on his face. He's gone down to Southampton, obviously being at Bournemouth before. He knows the area really well. He can really settle into the flow of life down there very quickly. And I just think we're going to see the best of him now because he'll be playing with the smile on his face. And I agree with you, it's going to be a busy season for him. It's going to be a tough season for Southampton. But I do think you will see the best of Aaron Ramsdale off the back of this move.
Well, we know he's going to make the saves.
Yeah.
I think the key for him picking Southampton is the way that Russell's team play, really possession-based. And I think he's got a little bit of a point to prove to Arteta, saying, I'm going to go to Southampton. I'll show you how good a goalie I am. But because we like to play football here with the manager we've got, I'll show you that I can play football and I should have been in goal.
And if he does do that and he shows everybody that he can play football with the ball at his feet, England. Yeah. Where does this leave him with England? Is he going to get back into England?
Look, I think, without doubt, him just playing in the Premier League is one of the 3 best goalies for England. So I think he'll get straight back in the squad for sure because he's playing back in the Premier League. Ultimately, 26 years of age, he's going to think he's got a chance to challenge Jordan Pickford now. So that's one for the future, but I'm just glad he's back playing football in the Premier League.
Okay, then, and then another English goalkeeper moving then. So it's nice to see a couple of English goalies moving and being first-choice goalies. Sam Johnstone to Wolves, £10 million. I like this. I think it's a good, solid, sensible move for the lad.
Yeah, look, Sam Johnstone, really good goalkeeper, experience. He's got over 350 career appearances. Yeah. Only 60 plus in the Premier League, so you could argue, has he got the full Premier League experience? But look, 67 games is 2 seasons. I think for 10 million quid, Wolves have got a snip. Yeah. You know he's tried and tested. You know what he's going to bring to this level. What I really like for Sam is the fact that he's going to a fantastic goalie coach in Neil Cutler, who's worked at the top level at 2 or 3 different clubs, and he's had a big impact on the goalies he's worked with. So I think for Sam, even though he's 31 years of age, you can always keep learning. Yeah. There's always little 1%ers you can have. And I think he's gone to a really good football club. I think Wolves will do well in the Premier League this year. I like the manager, but I think he's made a sound decision by picking a goalie coach who can have an impact and make you better.
I totally agree. I've worked with Neil Cutler and he is fantastic. He made me better. As a 34, 35-year-old goalkeeper, he made me better. Yeah. And I think with 31-year-old Sam, I think he can do the same as well. Which means that Jose Sa then will be going, I think this week, probably out to one of the Saudi Arabia teams. And then Kepa in at Bournemouth. I spoke about Neto going on loan to Arsenal. Kepa leaving Chelsea on loan to Bournemouth. What do you think of this one?
Well, I think he's got a relationship with the manager at Bournemouth. I think their paths crossed 5-10 years ago. Yeah. So I think there's a link there. But for Bournemouth fans, I think it's quite exciting. Ultimately, look, he was once the most expensive goalie on the planet. And he's now gone to Bournemouth and he's going to be your goalkeeper. I think Neto did a fantastic job for Bournemouth, to be honest with you.
He did, didn't he? Yeah, I like Neto.
Yeah, I think he was a really good goalie. Yeah. But Bournemouth probably would have never thought they would have been able to get anywhere near this kind of signing. Yeah. Kepa, look, he's 29 years of age. He's nearly up to 400 career appearances. He's an experienced international goalie who's played at the top level. I think for Bournemouth, he'll be a stellar signing. Different goalie to Neto, for sure. But look, they want to play football, and he's quite comfortable at playing football. Not very dominant in terms of the crossing side of the game because of the physicality, but he's a very good shot stopper, and he makes some amazing reaction saves. And I would think that he'll be a real asset to Bournemouth in terms of the way they play and pushing on this year.
He's kind of similar to Aaron Ramsdale in a way, is that I feel for Kepa, this is just a chance to go and play first-team football with a smile on your face. Yeah. Get back to doing what you do best. It didn't work out for you at Chelsea. Everybody knows that. I think that move was probably a little bit too big for him and probably a step too far. I think this is a Kepa level. I like Kepa. I think he's a very good goalie, very dynamic, very reactive. And I'm just looking forward to seeing him play in the Premier League with a smile.
I want to see him play well in the Premier League. I'm like you. I don't think the price tag and moving to a massive club with the expectations, because of the price tag and the expectations at Chelsea, none of that really worked out for him. I know he went to Real Madrid last year and played a few games while Courtois were out, but he'll come back now. He's a very good goalie. He's playing in the best league in the world, and get back to the basics. 29 years of age, go and enjoy your season and see where it takes you.
Right, big Giorgi Mamardashvili.
This is your favourite guy from the Euros. You loved him.
Favourite guy from the Euros. I've watched him in every game Georgia played. I watched him. I just think, mate, you have got absolutely.
Well, you called it.
Everything. He does. He just looks like he's got everything. Really calm, composed, big, broad shoulders, big, tall lad as well. So he's signed for Liverpool. He's going to go out on loan again for the whole of this season. There's talks of Alisson possibly going out to Saudi maybe next season. So he will be the natural successor to him. 191 career appearances though. Still only 23 years old. Watto. For 30 million quid, I think Liverpool have signed another absolute guaranteed 7, 8 out of 10 every week.
Yeah, no, look, we were fortunate enough to be at the Euros, and when we'd both seen him, you especially thought that he was a Premier League goalie in the making. 23 years of age, as you said. He's nearly up to 200 career appearances. He's playing at a good level, Valencia in La Liga. A lot of expectation to play for Valencia for sure. Playing at the Mestalla, the fans are pretty hostile towards their own team when it's not going well. So you know he can go out there and play his part. I think he looks really comfortable. By the time he gets to Liverpool next summer, he'll be up to 250 appearances, near enough. Alisson, is 32 in October. He's still got a lot of life in him. But I think you've got a really good replacement. And I think if he can't come in next summer and they give him some games in the cups and bits and pieces and get the feel of it, I think that he could be certainly a very, very good and cheap signing, because it's not much money for somebody of his age and his talent.
How would this signing affect somebody like Kelleher, though? Obviously, he's been at number 2 at Liverpool all along. It depends, obviously, what he's been told as number 2 goalkeeper, whether he will be the successor to Alisson. But I think everybody would probably know deep down that he never was going to be the number 1 goalkeeper. What does this do for somebody like him?
I think he'll be really disappointed, because obviously he got quite a few games last year when Alisson
did really
were
well,
and did really well. And yet you're giving it your best. You've not let your team down, and yet this summer you've been kind of looked over, and you know that this guy's there not only to replace you, but replace the guy who's in the goals as well. So I think it will have affected him mentally for sure, because I did think he performed particularly well for him, and ultimately he won him the cup, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Klopp's last trophy. He was fantastic in the final. So I think he'll be a little bit disappointed, but ultimately that's the game. And when the summer comes, he'll not be short of offers, and the merry-go-round will start again.
True that. And the final piece of the merry-go-round puzzle, Neto going on loan from Bournemouth to Arsenal as number 2 goalkeeper, back up to David Raya. Again, this is kind of a win-win for everybody, isn't it? Arsenal get a very solid, dependable number 2, good at playing with the ball with his feet. And for the player himself, he gets to go to a big club in London as Arsenal. Win-win.
I think for him, look, he would still want to play for sure and feel at 35 that he's not over the hill and past it. Fantastic goalie for Bournemouth, but you go into one of the biggest teams in England. You know that Raya's firmly established as number 1, so you know where you sit when you sign in. But to try and, towards the end of his career, go and win something with a big team and see the difference from a team trying to stay in the league to that cutting edge Champions League football, trying to win trophies. And if there were ever a problem with Raya, you know we can step up and do the games.
That was Keeper's Corner. What a world class as always.
Yeah, slightly different insight, but I think it's good to try and talk about all the components that go into it. But we've still managed to have 3 fantastic saves.
Go on the goalies. We'll see you next week.